Michael, I just saw your email. I really hope this gets to you in time. I understand that your exam is today. I hope that your speaking and maybe your written is on Saturday. That's my hope, and that's often the case. Either way, I do want to get this to you, so let's see what you wrote. Okay, we've got the maps. Let's see. The given map illustrates the metamorphosis that an island underwent throughout unknown period of time. The key observation is that there has been a substantial transformation of this previously uninhabited is the word you want, uninhabited area that was only covered by some trees. Okay, fair, fine. Just make sure you write the right word. That's uninhabited. It is noteworthy that on the western side of the island that has access to a beach, a residential area has been erected, divided in the middle by a footpath connecting different parts of the land. Just right to the accommodation area, roughly in the center of the island, three relatively huge buildings were constructed, namely a hotel, a restaurant, and a convenience store, CE. Further to the east, another residential area having access to a lake has been built up. Well, I would have just said built, period. Okay? Build up means something different. Okay. Remarkably, a lake has been formed just in the nearest vicinity of the houses. That's a little awkward. I would have said a lake has been created near the houses on the eastern side of the island, and a pier has been added on its southern part just below the tallest building. Okay, so let me see something here. You mentioned the footpath, but did you mention the vehicle track at all? I don't think you did. That's fairly important to mention. You can see it's here in the as like a description. So I think you did okay as far as this part is concerned. You didn't talk about this part. So let me tell you what's going on here. The only thing you told me about this map is you mentioned it in the overview. You said that it was previously uninhabited, but we have absolutely, right? Here it is. Previously uninhabited area. That's not enough. Just because you mentioned something once in your overview, it doesn't mean that you're done with it. Okay? The overview just kind of highlights the main thing, but you still have a responsibility to describe both maps in detail. In fact, you have to keep this in mind. If it's there, it's because they want you to talk about it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be there. Okay? Otherwise, it would just show you this map and it would say island after tourist development. Okay, and you would have no before map. The fact that they've given you a before map means that they absolutely want you to talk about it. Okay, now I realize there's not a whole ton to talk about, but there are some things you can say. You can say, for example, that in the before map, we see there is absolutely no human intervention. There are some trees scattered throughout the northern portion of the island and the south central portion. And there is a beach in the western part of the island. You could say that the island is roughly 200 meters east to west and roughly 100 meters north to south at its widest point. So you could say something like that, okay? And that for me would be a good way to describe this island. You could then say in the after image, the island shows clear transformation into a tourist destination that takes advantage of its access to the sea. Okay, so that's how I would have begun that, and I would have talked about all things you did. You could see that you were at just 150 words, so that should have been your clue that maybe there was something else I could have said. All right, so that's what I would have done. I would have absolutely talked about the before map. That's why it's there. Okay, and then I would have added that transition sentence that I just said before I began actually my description of the thing. So as I said, you did fail to mention the vehicle track. I think you should mention it. I think you should. You didn't mention anything about the beach either, if I remember correctly. Let me just double check. Let me see. Oh yeah, no, you did talk about the beach really briefly, but that's fine. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned all the key points. So it was just that. The vehicle track I thought you should have mentioned, but more importantly, you should have said something about the before. Okay, so that's it with your task 1. You saw that I corrected some of the awkwardness, so bear those things in mind as well. Let's take a look at this. This is about green energy, threat or great for cost and the environment. Let's see. In recent years, the topic of energy sustainability has become a pressing issue for the nations of the global north and south. It is a commonly held belief that switching, ing, to green sources of energy not only results in a major cost reduction, but it is also environmentally friendly. Good. However, others claim that the transformation in energy supply threatens its safety and reliability. Good. My viewpoint is that the switch towards renewables is vital for the future survival of our planet. Lovely. Very good. Okay, it's a little long. So if you had to change something, I probably would have cut some of this out. Okay. Um, let's see. Maybe you could have made these 2 sentences a little more concise. Okay, so something like, while some believe that energy transformation, that the transformation in energy supply threatens its security, my viewpoint is that the switch towards renewables is, etc., etc. Okay, so maybe you could have actually taken this sentence out and then just combined these two to make your introduction more brief. Now, the reason why I'm suggesting this is because, as you know from previous essays, it's not worth your while to spend a ton of time on your introduction. Your introduction has to basically rephrase the topic and then present your position, and then you're out of there. All right. So there's really no value in adding tons and tons of words, because what that ends up doing is it ends up taking away space from and time from the body paragraphs, which is what you really want to spend time on, because that's where you'll improve your task achievement score. Okay, so try to keep these a little more concise. Let's see what you wrote. Supporters. Okay, you see, I would have reversed this. I like, and not just me, but lots of IELTS tutors will suggest putting the side you don't support first and then the side you do support second. Okay, keep that in mind. Supporters of the shift towards renewable energy argue that the transition to a greener power has a crucial role in combating the effects of the climate crisis. Good. So detrimental to the survival of our planet is economy based on combustion of fossil fuels that many believe it should be the highest priority of all governments to take action in cutting down emissions of the greenhouse gases. Okay, complex. It was a little hard to read, but I like the way you think. Okay. So detrimental to the survival of our planet is economy. So detrimental to the survival of our planet is an economy based on the combustion of fossil fuels that many believe. Yeah, okay, fine. The observed technological advancements in construction of wind turbines, solar, and hydro, or even small nuclear power plants make transition from not carbohydrates. I'm not sure what you're talking about anymore. Much more affordable. All right. This paragraph has now kind of confused me. I don't understand why you're talking about carbohydrates. We're talking about fossil fuels, so I don't know where this comes in. Let's see. So you said it makes them much more affordable. I really wanted to hear something about why they're better for the environment. You didn't really tell me. You just told me that gas is really terrible. So what I wanted to hear was something about why is hydropower and wind power and everything so much better. You could have talked about the fact that nothing needs to be burned for this energy to be created. You don't have to dig to create this energy. All those lovely things that we know about renewable fuels, okay? And that the supply is endless. So we don't have to worry about it being a finite resource, and that it's not harmful to the environment. So I would have liked to heard more about that, okay? All right, let's keep going. Critics of green energy, not the green energy, but just green energy as a concept. Critics of green energy argue that renewable energy is not reliable, prone to futile, that's the wrong word, not futile. I think you mean fluctuating, maybe? prone to fluctuating weather conditions, which are especially challenging in the advent of the accelerating climate crisis. Neither solar power plants can provide energy at night, nor wind turbines can work. All right, grammar is confusing me here. You're overcomplicating it, and I'm now a little lost. Okay, so simplify your sentences. Remember, the goal here is communicating ideas first, and then having kind of advanced grammatical structures second. Okay, so don't sacrifice clarity in the name of creating something really advanced grammatically. Okay, because I got a little lost in this paragraph. All right, let me try it one more time. Critics of green energy argue that renewable energy is not reliable and is prone to fluctuating weather conditions, which are especially challenging in the advent of the accelerating climate crisis. Full stop here. That's enough. Okay? And then, furthermore, neither power plants can provide energy at night, nor can wind turbines work efficiently while the wind, this is awkward. We don't say flawed characteristics. You don't describe the wind like that. So this is not an accurate choice of vocabulary here. Under no circumstances, they argue, should stable sources of energy like coal or gas plants be eliminated from the energy power market. Okay, so there's not a lot happening in this paragraph, and this is what I was talking about before, where I would much rather you have sacrificed a sentence or two in your introduction to really make more of this. Again, my suggestion is to reverse these two paragraphs, have the paragraph you don't support first, and the paragraph you do support second. Makes it stronger, because what you're essentially doing here is you're weakening your argument, and you don't want that. Okay. So for me, this paragraph really left something to be desired. I thought it needed more development. I thought you had a couple of really efforts at high level grammar, but they kind of fell flat because you could have said the same thing much more clearly. And as I mentioned before, clarity is really what's important, getting your message across. Even native speakers sometimes use very basic language, okay, rather than muddling their message with something more complicated and more advanced. Okay, so think of that. I like that you try to use under no circumstances. I think it's a great idea. I don't know, like staple. There's no L here. There's no I here, by the way. All right, so this is okay, but this together with the previous sentences with all that neither nor, it was just a little too much. So I would have tried to simplify some of that, and also maybe just write a little more in terms of support. Okay, like maybe you could have talked about how, um, you know, first of all, you could have said that it's very expensive because the infrastructure required to have these sorts of renewable energy sources are very expensive. So while over time they may make it worthwhile, in the beginning it's not cost effective. Okay, so it requires quite an outlay of resources. So that's one thing you could have talked about. You could have talked about the fact, yeah, I mean, you mentioned this. That's fine. It's just the grammar that I thought was a little strange, made it difficult to read. So, yeah, I felt it just needed a little more here. And you can even see that it's kind of shorter, even with all this grammar here. It is a couple lines shorter than that previous paragraph. All right, so in conclusion, while there are valid arguments on both sides, get rid of your the here. I believe that the switch towards greener energy is an absolute necessity if we are really considering ways to sustain life on our planet in the long run. Okay, I like that. That's good. Short, clean, to the point, lovely. All right, this is a good conclusion. I would like to see your introductions being a little more like this. Again, rephrasing the topic, but briefly, and then presenting your position, and then out of there. Okay, that's the goal here. So I saw a lot of things I liked. Good work, but again, there were some things that I wanted you to change. The paragraph orders of your body paragraphs, writing a little less for your introduction, writing a little more here because I felt it was a little underdeveloped, and not focusing so much on having this advanced grammar if it means you're going to make your message less clear. All right, clarity is the goal here. So let me know what happens with your exam. I'm really curious to hear if today was just your oral and then Saturday is your writing, which is what I hope. I mean, that's the most typical at least. So let us know. And of course, your scores when you get them. We're here if you need any suggestions or have any questions. Okay, so I'm looking forward to hearing from you and best of luck.